Hello, it's me, Mac, back once again with another indie game. Well, not really an indie game. Kind of an indie game, sort of. I don't know. Is Funcom considered indie? I mean, is it considered indie if it's just like not made by Microsoft or Sony these days? Really hard to say. But welcome to Dune Awakening. I've been playing a ton of this game, so I thought I would spend, 10, 15 minutes and just kind of chat about it a little bit and what I'm enjoying about it, what I'm not enjoying about it. Just because it's a hot topic game. And there's my base back there. I've put in about 100 hours into this game so far, which is a lot for me because I do cover a lot of games and I also don't have a lot of time. But I do enjoy this game, and we have covered a lot of games kind of similar to this on the channel in the past in terms of survival crafting games, which is what this is inherently. It is a game where I'm going to need to survive against the desert, keeping my water levels up, crafting big bases and machines and vehicles. Like you can see here, I've got a buggy and a cute little bike over here, and a bunch of refineries and buildings and all sorts of different stuff. And here's where I process corpses, by the way, in case you were wondering. But yeah, this is my base. And up top, I have my ornithopter, which is my main source of movement around the world, which is massive, I might say. It is huge. This is the map. You can see all sorts of points of interest all over the map. The core flow of this game is basically finding resources out in the world, collecting those resources, refining them into better resources and parts, and building things in order to survive. Water is a constant requirement, so you need to build big water depots like these cisterns, and they store up water for you. You need to generate water by creating. Where did I put them? They're over here. But I have like a big wind trap that collects water for me over time, and I've got windmills here that generate power, and all these fusion power generators over here. It's a big, high-scale game that is played as a light MMO. And what I mean by that is you are on a server, there are other players, you may interact with other players on occasion, but for the most part, you're on your own. You're kind of, unless you're part of a group or a team or a guild, which you can join inside this game, you're mostly doing stuff on your own, which is great because it's balanced in a way that I can do almost everything I want to by myself, or I can speed up the process by joining up with friends and colleagues and having a little fun there. There's combat, which I will show you in a second here. Let's go out in the bike here, and I'll show you a quick little bit of combat. We can drive on our vehicles. I built all these vehicles. You have to research all of the parts, and you can attach and build things. It's a lot of fun, actually. The building mechanics are great for this game. And you can go out to all these different little POIs here, and you can find folks to fight. Fighting entails using a gun or a sword or things like that. You can also have shields on, but I don't have enough power right now. Now I do. And this is where the game isn't amazing. So the gunplay is okay. I've got a really high-powered gun for this area, and I can go in here and I can collect these bodies if I want to. But you'll be killing a lot of folks. There's not a lot of variety in the enemies. It's all human enemies that have either a gun and fire at you from distance. There are snipers that fire from you from even farther distance and poison you. There are shield dudes that run up on you with blades. And there are big guys that have big guns that also have shields that are a real pain in the butt and can kill you really quickly. But that's basically kind of the only archetype. So in terms of combat, things do get a little bit boring from time to time. Although there's enough exploration in the world that it doesn't matter that much because it's still kind of fun just going around, even though the combat is just kind of okay. Because the world is amazing. Like, look at this. This is gorgeous. They have done an amazing job of creating a beautiful world, even though it's mostly just sand and dunes. There is so much differentiation between all the different zones. When we look at the map here, you're going to see there's sandy areas. There's different types of sand that will cause different things. I'll go into that in a second. There's deep sand. There are these massive chasms that you can go with incredible verticality down into the depths to collect ores. And there are also worms, which we can hear coming up somewhere nearby. Part of the survival mechanics is to avoid... There he goes over there. But you're always trying to avoid getting eaten by a worm. Let's see if we can get him to come out. and you're always trying to avoid... Oh god, there he is. There he is, big buddy. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna come for me in a second. I better run. So the worms will come out after you. Oh, geez, he's already chasing me. Yeah, run away! Run away. We do not want to get eaten by a worm. Worms... Oh, geez. Okay. Take care, buddy. But the game has these great cinematic moments in terms of defying the worm trying to eat you, and if he does eat you, he takes everything. If you're on a bike, your bike is gone. Your equipment is gone. You cannot recover anything, so you definitely don't want to get eaten by a worm. I've gotten eaten by a worm a couple of times by accident, and it's not great. But the general grind of the game is going out and collecting rocks and killing folks and collecting the spice melange, which is going to be available in very small amounts around. There's little mini games as you go to collect things. Everything is kind of enjoyable. And the fact of the matter is, as you kind of go up through the tiers, the game rewards you really well for moving and advancing up through those tiers. Every time you create a new refinery, you also increase efficiencies. So everything becomes a little bit easier when you get your first vehicle. You get to traverse across larger plains of sand. When you create your ornithopter, you get to travel through to other areas. There's also a whole bunch of quests that you can do as well. And you'll see that there is a variety of quests. There's a full kind of story quest as well, which we don't typically see in terms of these kind of survival crafting RPGs. And it's actually a fairly interesting story. So I've gone through all of that. There are a bunch of kind of other side stories as well that you can go through that I haven't even completed yet. 100 hours in, and there's still more for me to do. So quite impressive there. There's a whole bunch of like task quests as well, and you can see there's a whole ton of side quests that you can go in and play, and you can also kind of do quests to improve your skills and update your class as well. So every class has a variety of skills in different areas, and you can mix and match, which is quite nice. And then in order to get kind of higher levels of them, you'll have to go out on these additional quests in order to unlock additional skills for each class. So it gives you a nice level of progression every time you want to go and do something. There's always something to do. The one area that does struggle a little bit in this area outside of the combat is in towards the end game. So in terms of goals within this game, you're basically have the early kind of survival crafting games. Get to a point where I can survive on my own, develop and create what I want to, and make sure myself and or my guild and team have what we need. The end game veers towards a PvP-centric deep desert area, which is a massive area. Maybe we'll fly out there and go see it. It is a massive area that essentially does more of the same as what you see here, but kind of forces you to a point to potentially engage in PvP. And when I say by potentially means, there's a whole bunch of ways to avoid PvP. There is a large PvE area within the deep desert, and there's also, depending on your server and your world that you're in, there's going to be a different level of amount of guild factions and people who are actually out there at any given time. So you can do everything you want to out there. If you do take your time and go through, you don't necessarily have to engage with the PvP, but honestly, you kind of have to engage with the PvP in order to really progress. And that's where I find the one area that I don't really enjoy about this game is that towards the end game, there's not really any purpose. Once you get through and you kind of get all of your equipment that you want to get, the only purpose to continue is to get the next level of gear that's really only suitable for fighting other players. There's not really any other component or requirement that you need to kind of do anything else. You don't need anything in the deep desert to go and do anything in this great big world. Everything that's available inside the deep desert is only really to be used in the deep desert against other players. So something they definitely need to start looking at in towards of the long-term value of this game is to determine what they want to create and have people do so that they have something that they can achieve and aim for in the late game progression. Currently, let me land over here for a second. Drink. Currently, the only other endgame feature is going to be something they call the Landsraad. So when I look at my area here, I have joined a house. I've joined House Harkonnen. I haven't done many missions for them yet. But as you go into the Landsraad, which is basically a bingo card of different activities that guilds and houses can partake in, where they're mostly gathering items and bringing those into specific people in order to claim these little cards here. And if they claim enough, they get to claim that for their house and eventually get a bingo, which allows them to then direct certain decrees which affect the entire area. As you provide your own updates in here as well, you get these little rewards if you want to. But for the most part, these are collection quests, and a lot of them kind of essentially sell out before smaller players or individual groups can go out and do most of them. So they don't really give you much to do towards the end area. They have said that they're going to do some additional updates on here to give you more things to do in the future, but that is, again, not really giving you anything else to really aim for. Yes, you can go and you can claim this stuff and you can get these new items, you can get all of this in-game money and currencies and things like that for sure, these crafting materials as well, but there's not really anything to do with them once you have it. Once you've gotten those things and you've gotten your top tier armors and you've gotten the best vehicles and weapons and whatnot in the game, the only purpose for those is to go out and fight other players, which you might not want to do. They haven't added any endgame activities in terms of PvE elements that I can go out and take on a boss or go out and take on a discovery quest of some sort. So it's definitely something they're going to need to add in later game to just give us something else to do. Right now, my only real quest is to eventually go into this research tree and essentially unlock what I want to and build some of these big devices, these big vehicles here, which are just massive helicopters, massive refineries on wheels and things like that that you can grab. Really, though, the only use for them is inside the deep desert, and they're very, very expensive, and they can be destroyed when you engage in PvP. So I have my own internal goals that I'm trying to get to, but realistically, I'm never probably going to use these things once I build them. I just kind of want to build it because they're fun to build, and it's fun to collect the items to get them. But yeah, in the end game, they'll need to add a few other things. But for the most part, this is probably one of the best, if not the best, survival crafting game I have played, and I have played a lot of survival crafting games. It is a genre that I do enjoy, and I've very much enjoyed about 90% of this game outside of the combat being a little bit iffy, the end game progression not really having much of a emphasis on just self-improvement of your characters and things like that. Outside of that, though, the story was fun. The crafting loop is really engaging and enjoyable and rewarding. And the best thing about this is just the environment, the world itself. They've done a really great job of just creating a space where I enjoy being and just looking around and finding things. And every week they update things a little bit, so you have to go back out and discover the areas of the map again and identify where your resources are going to be and all of these things. So they've done a really good job in creating a world that is enjoyable to be in, even though it's just kind of a big desert planet. You can see just from this view here all the different layers of land types and things like that they've created, which is a lot of fun. But that's it on Dune Awakening. Thought I would just let you guys know because I've been playing this quite a bit and I have been enjoying it. I'm going to continue playing it on and off, probably not as much now that I've kind of reached kind of the end game until they've added a few more things. But I'll probably be popping on every once in a while just to take care of my base, maybe build some extensions, get it a little bit bigger. You can see the bases are or can be quite crazy. Like this, my neighbor over here has built this insane massive base, which is quite impressive, and there's all sorts of bases everywhere in this area as compared to my little dinky efficient base that I've created on my side. I'm not as creative in terms of base building. I always kind of build what do I need, and I leave it at that. But yeah, this has been Dune Awakening, Again, as always, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and comment down below. Let me know if you're playing Dune. Love to get together and play with folks as well. I've been mostly soloing through this game, and yeah, I've had a lot of fun. But that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.